Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast. It's brand new. I'm that guy Rickster, and my co-host here is.
This is Darian.
And our podcast, we like to call it Shits and Giggles or Shiggles for short. And Darian, tell us a bit more about the podcast.
So, this podcast would be on a variety of topics from pop culture to current affairs, also including like reality TV, some of the shows that we watch, things that are currently trending at a particular time or maybe like during the week. So, this episode will basically go into resolutions. What are your thoughts on it? Being that we're heading into a new year, so to have like a discussion of do we believe in resolutions, why we do, why we don't, what type of resolutions we usually have for the start of the year.
All right, so just let's get into it then. What are your thoughts on resolutions? Do you believe in them? Do you do them?
To be honest, I've never believed in resolutions. I say that to say because people usually make goals or plans like what I want to do this year, I want to do this year. I think we should more look at your life as something that we should always have goals or plans, not something to directly wait around for the new year to say, oh, I'm going to start the gym. And the reason why I say this is because why wait? And generally, when people wait until the new year, sometimes they do start. They do start, but within like a week or two, they end up not being consistent. So, what is the point of making these resolutions if you're not going to stick to them? So, it goes back to my point that we should always have plans or resolutions in our life that we try to achieve, maybe like on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or maybe you could even make more long term resolutions like in 5 years, I want to be right here. I want to do this. I want to do that. You stick to them and you be more consistent and you also make more realistic things that you want to achieve as to so that's basically my thoughts on it.
All right. Well, back in the day, I used to make resolutions, and I was one of the persons who, within the first 2 days, I forget about what the resolution was. So after
See,
a
that's the
while,
point, but
yeah,
that is
after
the
a
point.
while, I just decided, you know what? I am no longer one of the resolution girlies. I'm just gonna just do my thing. But I do, the whole New Year, New Me thing. I think that's why a lot of people still do resolutions, and then they get all excited, and as you said, like they forget about it a couple
But
days
they
down the
ended
road.
up being the same person.
Exactly. So nothing really changes by like week one, week two of the new year. So as you said, what was the point? But a friend of mine said something to me. I want to say a month ago or so. So we were talking about the same thing, resolutions, and they brought up an interesting point. Let me know what you think. So they said that they think people are making resolutions during the wrong time of the year. And hear me out. So the whole New Year, New Me thing. But
Yeah.
my friend said to me that during January we're still in the winter months. Things
Uh-huh.
are still dead, frozen, all that.
Also depressing. So yeah.
Yes, and depressing. Like it's the season of depression. But then in the spring, everything is growing, new life, whatever. So they were saying to me that it makes more sense to make resolutions during that time since you're going for the whole new me, new vibe thing, since it's spring and everything is coming up fresh and new. What do you think?
Now that you kind of say that in a sense, especially like if you live like in a cold climate like me, like I live in New York, uh, during the winter months, it's really dead. Um, Even the general atmosphere that you get outside is very depressing. There's no leaves on the tree. The place is dark most of the times. You don't see you don't see the sun. No, sometimes you don't see the sun for days, and then like on a sudden random day, like you see the sun, and you're like, this feels new. So
Yeah.
I say that to say when it gets to the end of March leading into April, based on my experience, when
Mm-hmm.
allergy season comes around, the only unfortunate thing, but when the sun comes out, you start hearing like the birds chirping again, you see flowers blooming. It kind of gives you a vibe of being
Fresh
uplifted,
start.
like you just walk out of the darkness. So I can see where your friend saying, that's like the perfect time. So I guess if it works, if it works for you, if you feel
If
like
it
you've
works,
just
right?
emerged from the, but I mean, if you feel like you've just emerged from the darkness at that point, well, why not?
Because
That's the side.
I mean, at this point, a lot of people do still believe in them, but as to me, if it works for you, hey, go ahead. It's not for me, so it's not something that I particularly will partake in. But some people still love doing it, I guess.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, you can, but I think one of the issue is, and it's something that I see a lot in different aspects of people, like people aren't consistent.
Yeah.
And when you're serious about yourself and your goals and what you want to achieve and stuff like that, if you are and you decide this at the end of December into January and you're serious about it, you can make those resolutions happen. But that's why I say people generally aren't consistent. So that's the reason why, these plans fall through as, 2, 3 weeks. Like I go
Or
to the
days.
gym a lot. Or days, yeah, because I go to the gym a lot. Progressively, December, the end of December right now, the gym is packed. If I go in the morning, the afternoon, the night, it is packed. And it's going to be packed coming into the new year because a huge thing to a lot of people is that, oh, um, I want to have a summer body. So it's a new year. I need to get my body ready for summer. But then they come into the gym for the first week, 2 week, as their resolution per se. But then they don't remain consistent. You don't see these people like after week, 2 weeks. So what
It's
was the point?
it's almost like the people because same gym scenario. Like if when I go to the gym at like Monday after work, right? It is packed. You cannot find any equipment. But the further you get down in the week, by the time you get to Saturday, it's empty. It's like one or two persons, the usual
Which
faces.
which shows you a lot about how inconsistent people are when it comes to their goals and resolutions and shit like that. Because at the beginning of the week, it's easy to say, all right, this week I'm gonna hit the gym 5 times, 4 times.
Hmm.
So you start out strong on Monday, which technically the week begins on Sunday, which is the day you should actually start. Because I find that when you start on Sunday, you already did one day. So by Monday, Tuesday, you're at 3 days already. You could
Yeah.
have the rest of the week. But as you say, you realize by the time it gets to the end of the week, it's just dwindling and you don't see as much people. And it's the same thing for the new year as well. People just aren't consistent.
It goes back to what you said. Like it makes more sense to set more realistic goals that you can achieve, not even if it's not like new year, new me, but over time, and you're
That you're
consistently
disciplined enough to.
working towards those goals that make more sense to me. But hey, to each his own, right?
Yeah, because I just feel as if, like, as people, I guess resolutions stem from the fact that we're trying to fix something about your life, or maybe elevate something, which is why I say, like, you should always be doing this. You shouldn't wait until, oh, in October you're like, oh, I'm gonna wait until the new year. What if you don't live until the new year? You start working now. Which going back to the whole gym thing, something that I've said to people, that if you want a summer body, actually you don't get a summer body in this
Couple weeks.
in couple weeks. You have to be consistent if you want that body for summer to rip out the plastic brand new when it's May, June, and it starts heating up. If you live in New York like I do, no,
Yeah.
because literally right now it's just pants, shirt, coats, all of that. No, nothing too skimpy or revealing. So when
Uh-huh.
summer you want to show that body off, you gotta start working from September, October, autumn into winter to get that body by that time.
That's
So you
true.
can't just wait until January, and then January inconsistent. When you look, it's February. By the time you look, it's summer.
True. That makes sense. But speaking of, since we're on resolutions though, I know we both don't do them. But are there any goals that you are working towards really?
Well, for me, I think one of the the most difficult thing for me was um I made a 5 year goal,
Mm-hmm.
obviously 5 years ago, not yesterday.
Yeah.
I stuck by it. I was consistent with it regardless of everything that happened. Um, and I did. But one of the things we also have to talk about with making goals and resolution is that you can be consistent, but you can also sometimes need like a break, because it feels as if you're almost chasing after something. So I say that to say, when I made that goal and I was very, diligent, I was very aggressive to get into where I wanted to be at that particular point. Now there's this period where I just feel extremely lazy.
Yeah.
I feel extremely lazy, but there's a part of me that understand that all right, you have to make new goals, which for me, coming into the next 5 years, there's a lot of things I've worked on and I've changed about myself, but I still
Yeah.
feel as if I'm right where I should have been all along in my entire life, but I need to like take it somewhere way further. So it's gonna come with me working on myself a lot more and doing all the things I said that I will do. Even like simple stuff like getting more tattoos, getting more piercings, shit like that that I've been
Yeah.
constantly like putting off. Um, the goal also is to, I don't know, go back to school. Do I know what I fully want to do as yet? No, but I know that within the next 5 years, like I
You should have
definitely
it
need
sorted
to
out.
be back in school.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe probably move out to New York, maybe like a New Jersey, somewhere that's a little bit more suburban but not so chaotic. But but yeah,
For me, though, I
that's
do
the say.
definitely have goals as well that I've been working towards over the long term. And just like you, I think I am. Um, I may not be where I want to be fully, but I'm where I'm supposed to be at this point. And some things I think I have achieved faster than others, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I'm still working towards them.
And I'm glad you brought that up as well too. It's also a part of the process. When you make goals and resolution, things aren't always going to go the way you want it to or at the
Mm-hmm.
speed you want it to. And comparison is a thief of joy, because if I look at you and be like, oh, you already have this, you've already got this, I'm trying to get that, but I haven't got this yet. Don't ever compare
Compare
your journey to someone else's journey,
because everyone
or
has different journeys,
everyone
you
a different
know,
journey, different timeline, everything different. What should I say? Different ad
destinies.
destiny. Not destinies, but the word I was looking for is resources. Different
Yeah,
resources, which I think when it comes to goals, like that's like a huge thing. And also drive as well, because I may have more drive than you, but
that's
it's at the
true.
end of the day, I got there in 8 years, you got there in 10 years. It doesn't mean that you didn't get there either. You still got there eventually. So
I
there's a
think
lot of
as
things like that we gotta look at.
Yeah, and I think as long as you stay motivated and like work towards what you want to achieve, eventually it will happen. It might take, and just be open to detours because, as you said, like sometimes things might happen that weren't a part of the plan, but you never know where that might take you in the long run. So it might seem like it's a defeatist type thing, but just be open to detours and like go with it. Sometimes it just helps.
But also, as you said, detours as well. Um, One of the things that you also have to, I just lose my train of thought.
I hate when that happens.
No, it was such a good point when you said detours. There's
Let's try
something
it
that I
again.
wanted to say about that.
Open to
Yeah.
be open to detours. You never know where that detour might take you. Is the word detour
Yes.
helping? Okay.
Yes. So what I wanted to say is that I've noticed this with people. A lot of times they're trying to get somewhere in life based on certain goals that they have, and they're probably like uncomfortable with the current position where they're at. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's where they live, and things aren't happening fast enough. And I always try to say to people, you gotta be okay with being uncomfortable for a while to get comfortable.
Yes.
Use certain things they're not an end all, but use it as as my analogy that I like to use is use that job, use where you live as like a ladder. So you're at this rung right now, so you use this job to take you to the next place to get to where you want to go. Eventually you're going to get to where you want to go. You're not going to be uncomfortable again.
That's true.
So it's like don't let those little things get you like unmotivated, demotivated because um I don't live somewhere where the ideal apartment that I want to live right now, so I feel like as if I'm not there yet. Like these are all things where you can be uncomfortable for a while to get to where you want to go. So that's just it.
And maybe I'm just like too much of an optimistic person, even though, the sadness comes sometimes. But I just feel like there's always a silver lining with whatever is going on. Sometimes you might not see it at that point, but when you look back, you're like, oh, yeah, that was it. That was a silver lining. Yeah.
Yeah, because like what are you worried? And also worrying about things, it helps nobody.
I've
It
always said
really
like
helps. I understand it's hard to not worry, especially when it comes to like
human nature.
human nature, like financial stability, all of these things that help people to get to where they want to go to. But I always tell people like, shit is going to happen, especially when you set plans and goals and resolution. But look at it like this. You spill a glass of water. Instead of sitting down crying that the water spilled, like just clean it up, pour yourself a
Yeah.
new cup and move on. The time that you
But
sat
that's
there
easier said
wasting
than done
energy, it's
sometimes.
true. It's true, but also if you want to be aggressive and disciplined about pursuing what you want, you gotta give yourself a lot of tough love and not sit idly by in certain emotions. I know it's not easy to do, but you waste more time worrying than you could spend that time doing something else to get yourself better.
That's true.
That's
Because I've always said like it makes no sense sometimes you worry about things that are out of your control. Only focus on what's within your
your
control. So if
control.
like
Yep.
yeah, like if you can't control it, do not sit and prolong the thought process of trying to figure it out, because at the end of the day you literally just cannot control it. It's beyond your control.
And I've also said to people that when it comes to things like especially like getting to where you want to in life based on your goals and resolution, being solution based is very very important because if you're a solutions based person, if something happens, you don't really sit around to think of, oh my God, woe is me. Your brain immediately start processing how you're going to fix this, so you can continue moving as to sitting down moping. I've done
Yeah.
that a lot in my life, and that has helped me so much because I waste not much time thinking on things that I can't change. It's already happened. My brain is like, fix it, let's get it back, and
Yeah. Just move on.
and just move on. So you have to, but I find that discipline, it's not the easiest thing. It's not the
Yeah.
easiest thing. It's not because like
It's
for
really
example
not.
when I started the gym is when I just moved here.
We get
Um,
it. You're in the gym.
I mean you're being a little bit jealous right now, but I have to use
No,
that the best
no, no.
examples.
I'm also in the gym. I'm also in the gym. Come on.
Apparently I have different goals than you, but anyways,
Okay. Just ask.
what I was saying is that it was really hard for me to be consistent, but I asked questions. I found little ways to
Mm-hmm.
discipline myself, and I eventually got there.
Yeah.
And
Which
it's
makes
discipline
sense.
and consistency. That's
Yeah.
it. But it's not the easiest thing, so I'm not gonna sit here and talk like, oh, like it was exactly easy. Like it took me a good 6 7 months of inconsistency to finally realize that if you
To
want
become
this, you're gonna
consistent.
have to really be consistent.
Yeah.
And I got there, and it no longer feels like a chore to me. It now feels like a part of my daily life. And if I don't go, I'm upset.
I
I
know.
feel like
Just
I've
that
let
I
my
don't go.
I feel I feel like I let myself down. No, because I know what it does to me, so it's
Yeah.
important.
And then with what you just said, it's like a perfect way to say, like, for the people out there who do resolutions every new year or whatever, consistency is the key, and being disciplined and determined that you want to work on that resolution.
That is it.
Yeah. So with all that said though,
Hmm.
resolutions and all, what what do you where do you see this podcast going? Like what are some expectations you have? Do you have any at this point? It's first episode, you know. Because let us say what we would want to see happen, and at the end, like next year, let's listen to this first episode and see if we've accomplished some of the stuff we mentioned today.
Okay, so let me say this. It's not something that would have ever, ever come to my
Mm-hmm.
mind if it was not pitched to me. But I must say, speaking on resolutions, it's also kind of ironic because
Yeah.
I did say to myself a couple months ago that, when I was emerging from my depressive,
The cocoon.
my 10 month depressive episode,
Yeah.
which was really long. I said to myself that I don't really put myself out there
Mm-hmm.
like that, and I realized that I've been consciously and subconsciously hiding myself. So I'm going to engage myself in more activities outside of going to work and going home. Well, aside
And the
from the gym.
gym.
The gym is a little bit more interactive because that's me. Because you have to put yourself in front of people. But I said that, maybe I will start doing TikToks talking about all experiences like this. So when you pitched the idea to me, I was just like, this is actually kind of like right alongside some of the things that I think I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, so this is what I think though for this. My goals for this. One is it's gotta gain some popularity.
Yeah.
I'm not doing no random that nobody listening
Yeah.
to. I need, people to actually be engaged and whatever, listen, blah blah blah. I
But
also
that comes with
expect us,
consistency though.
which is true.
Yeah.
I also expect us to be more. What's the word? What the word? Let me not say something silly before you drag me. But I want us to be more. I want us to be more refined and polished.
Yeah.
Like this is like a normal thing for us. Like we just get on, we just be hitting it. Even though I
And we
think
know
that
exactly what to
this
do.
was really great, like great for first, and there's a few things that come into play because we obviously know each other. We talk to each other in a lot about these little things, not as in depth now, but we do. So those are the two things for me
Yeah.
as of right now. So
I
you
think
can say yours.
for me as well, as you said, one of them is definitely seeing the podcast grow, seeing ourselves grow as we keep doing this. But one of the goals I would want is for us to just make it to at least a year. So we
Okay.
started December, at least make it to December 2024, at least a year. I just want to make it to a year, and then we can take it from there. Whatever happens afterwards or throughout that year, we will just take it in strides and see where it leads. But also, I just want to have fun. I mean, two friends doing this. I've always wanted to do something like this, so I just want to like have fun with it. You know, what's
Okay,
that
fair
face
enough.
for?
I'll have to tell you after this.
But also, so just I know we should have said this probably at the front, but since we're talking about the podcast, what we want to do is like each week we're going to have a segment, of course. But going forward, we might be adding more segments as if people start listening more, if people start writing into us, we'll probably start answering questions at some point. But one of the segments, so each week we'll have a topic that we'll talk about. But then we'll take a break and come back for like a segment two. Segment two, we were planning to maybe talk about shows we were watching at the time. I know Drag Race is starting this week, so we could probably review that as it goes along and like add or subtract stuff as we go. So we definitely have two segments down that we're definitely going to do. So next week is when we'll do the full podcast. This week is just us introducing the show, really. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough
And that's basically it, though, for this episode. What do you
for this
think?
episode. It was good.
Yeah, I think
It was
for
good.
a first time, yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
But with that said, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. At this point, we will probably start an Instagram page at some point, but right now we will just promote it on our personal pages. But the important thing is to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next week. This is where you say bye.
I was waiting for you to
Pause.
say your name.
Oh, yes. With that said, I'm that guy, Rickster.
And this is Darian. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, and goodbye.